The idea was how to help students create their own narrative using Stanislavski's theory of emotional theory, and that connects to your expressiveness research, so very nice that you put this one after the other. So when a student has to learn a new piece, he sees in front of him a set of graphic signs upon paper, as you can see. And at that point, he has a set of cognitive actions he has to go through. First of all, he has to decrypt the individual notes. Second thing, he has to give them names. You see the B flat, A, all these little notes there, to know their names. Then he has to remember their physical being and how actually the fingering of every note. And then he has to take action, and he has to put together everything, the fingers on the instrument in the right position, and balance the hands, and blow, and articulate, all at the same time, and then he has this aha, the sound. Now this process we all went through as students, and we actually keep going through as teachers all the time. This is what we do. And I think today, because we're so trained to it, we never really stop to think what are the stations of this process. But we're really busy with that. Now, all individual notes, depends, we did this aha, oh, C flat, oh, B flat, C flat we hardly use it, B flat. I come from a do re mi system, so C flat actually makes sense in my language. All the individual notes have to connect to each other, melodically and harmonically, and we have to have some kind of meaning, okay? Now, in order to have meaning, we have to look for the meaning, because it doesn't come with the notes. This is what we have. And we have to find hints of what was the intent of the composer, and then make this triangle of composer, us, and the instrument. So let's embark upon the search for meaning. We can treat the individual notes as a letter, a combination of notes as a word, and a set of notes combinations as a phrase. Now we all know what a phrase is, yes? In music we all speak phrasing, good phrasing, but we have a problem with that phrase. It is a textless phrase. And a textless phrase sometimes means a meaningless phrase, because it's not there, you have to look for it. So how do we insert the meaning to a textless phrase? And another question, how do we assist the student inject a real situation into the melody? These are two questions that interested me. Okay, so first of all, we have to assist the student, I jumped too quickly, in choosing little scenes from his life or from somewhere that he feels so strongly about that they might have the chance to affect the listeners and make every single performance a unique experience for both him and the listeners. Now, the reason I found this system especially helpful for contemporary music is that young recorder players devote most of their times actually as was explained before to Baroque music. And that comes already with a baggage of traditions and sources. Not to talk about the fact that we are today in the generation that all they have to do is click on their computers and hear 2,000 editions of the C major Vivaldi concerto, some good, some bad, but we meet it all the time. Contemporary pieces carry much less traditions. You say much less? In English, yeah, it sounds like oxymoron. Okay, less such traditions, and therefore can seem a little frightening and ambiguous to students. Now, helping them, assimilating themselves into the piece, will make it more accessible to them. So as you see, Baroque music really comes, we have recognizable Baroque notations. All of you know the piece already, just by looking at it. And sometimes with contemporary music, it can be a bit confusing, not to talk about the instrumental possibilities. I fell in love with this cartoon when I saw it. So, let's go to Konstantin. Oh, sorry. Now I jumped. In our daily lives, we grasp feelings all the time from textless mediums. We have face movements, we have body movements, we have body positions. All this is very clear what they're feeling. They don't have text, but we know where they are feeling. So I was trying to think, if we get that, how can we get it from the text? Konstantin Stanislavski was a Russian actor who worked in the Moscow Art Theater. He has developed the emotional memory system in the early 1900s, and since then it was used by prominent actors and directors all over the world. And what exactly is that system? We all experience things in our life. Let's speak about, try to think about past experience. We can go on the cliche of the first kiss, or where recorder players go in the first recorder lessons. Try to go back. So not only we remember that, if we think very clearly about it, we remember, our senses remember something. In a case, we might remember, what our partner was wearing, or his eye color, or the smell of the flowers in the area. The body, our senses capture things. Lately, I did an experiment with all my students. I asked them to write, and they were already academy graduates, their first recorded lesson. And it was amazing, but I was amazed when I remembered. I'm now almost 50 years old. From the age of 7, I remember the number of stairways I had to walk down the street to my teacher. And I didn't realize I remembered that. So this is, we have all these memories. And we have to, and these are stored in kind of separate pockets in our mind. Some conscious, some subconscious, and we have to find a way to get those. Stanislavski's system is a progression of techniques used to train actors to draw believable emotions to their performances. Now, an actor by Stanislavski is training to recreate events from his own history or his surroundings that could regenerate emotional effects in him, which then would be translated into his character and to his action on stage. And when I read that and when I saw actors, I thought, wow, well, this is exactly what we have to do, but without words. So this is where we differ from actors, but the idea is the same. In order to achieve such realism, one has to bring his own experience and blend it with his imagination, connecting the personal story with the specific story of the piece. The system was also used to be called affective memory, because one does not act sad, one genuinely feels sad in order to project sadness. And again, here we connect, so how do you bring that out of a student? Okay, it's extremely important not to force at any point a memory on a student, and not to force a feeling, and not to invent one, but to look sincerely into yourself, or the student has to look sincerely into himself, and try to bring up from his own subconscious a situation that fits the music before him. In order to do that, we use what is called in psychological terms sense memory, which may stir up emotional memory. So as you see, I try to bring pictures of all possible memories, senses. So what we have to do is to think, how do we use the sense memory to create emotional memory, which will turn into affective memory that will enhance the performance of our recorder students. So that's the big question. How do we do that? So first of all, teachers should repeat the system of working on a piece again and again, every lesson, every new piece, and on the same piece again and again, because things change. So it becomes a habit for the students. Already in the beginning, the student has to identify the first step. And the first step is a phrase, where it starts and where it ends. Now I'm saying we don't wait until the student sight reads. It is a process of the sight reading. Because if we first sight read and then go to meaning, then what we are projecting for our students is that these are separate entities. No. And by the way, a nice thing when my students try to do that, then I-C-O-N-T-I-U-E T-A-L-K-I-N-G. I kind of spell out words for them. Now they understand that they shouldn't do that, because this is what we do. We spell out words if we don't inject meaning from the first point, from the first lesson, by the way, from the first time they put their fingers on the recorder and try to produce, to enter this, white elephant of expressiveness into the lessons. So already in the beginning, student. Then I ask you the following questions to steer sense memory. What does the phrase remind you? If you had to choose a color for this phrase, would it be dark color or a light one? Now this question, first I would ask for colors and they would be lost. So then I said, okay, let's help them. Is it dark or light? And mostly children will answer By the way, adults, I do the same with my academy and conservatory students who are 20 plus and from. So then we try to discover which color. I mean, these are all dark colors, so which one exactly? So let's say one of them said blue. Okay, which blue? Let's go that deep into blue. And then we start imagining, okay, this, the first phrase is this, but then it turns into this. Okay, so we have something. I mean, I don't know what it means, and by the way, they don't know what it means, but it starts guiding them. It's like a highway with no map. You just go and you feel it's the right direction. After we finish the colors, we go to taste. What does it taste like? Is it sweet? What kind of food does it remind you? And it's amazing answers I got. But it really, at some point, it really makes sense to them because we connect all of them. We finish with smell, we go to texture. We really feel, texture is very easy, the clothing on them, whatever we have in the room, what does it feel like? And then they write it down. And we write it down all the time, all the things we have on the way. What does smell remind you? And we try to think about smells. And then the last question is, what kind of recorder sound, last question of this system, what kind of recorder sound would you associate with this phrase? Would it be harsh or soft or warm or tense? Because I'm trying to connect it back to the sound, like the sound of the voice. All these central memories remind us of a situation. And then suddenly something comes up, and it comes up with the students and they start talking. Now, as the student at this point is speaking out and pronouncing sensual memories, these connecting his mind to some kind of other memories. And only at this point, I try to ask him what he feels. Because now the feeling is already sitting on some kind of platform that he already connected. It's not something vague that he's inventing. He has went through an emotional process. I mean, I don't know what it is. Maybe he's not conscious yet where it's going, but it's starting to connect. Now he's not merely sight reading anymore. He has conscious ideas. And he lost all confidence. And now they can be themselves. Now this method I found was remarkably useful for students who have stage fright, because we are not dealing anymore with the right or correct or best performance of a piece. We are now treating what you have to say at this moment about that. Not how this is done, but how you do it, and they're so mesmerized into that the stage, they don't have energy to have stage fright. And now the feelings that the student will state at this point will be rough, probably. Yeah, I'm happy, sad, could be. So now is the time to ask the student the feeling. Here I jumped a little. The student picks an answer with a general or is a rough definition, like sad. So now try to make a possible list of all feelings of that side and choose the one that seems to him the most suitable. We have many kinds of sad. We have depressed, tragic, dreary, black, a little nostalgic, a little sad, sad because somebody died, or sad because I couldn't watch TV last night. There's different degrees of sadness. Make that. I mean, make the list with them and make them choose exactly how sad they are. Now, students that don't want to share a story with you. First of all, if it's too private, don't go in. I think we have to respect their privacy. But we can ask them to write it down for themselves, not for us. I know that once they write it down, it's working. And just a little detour about the students that want to be, I have these math students, yes, and it's true that they don't want to go into feelings, but then I don't talk about feelings with them, I talk about choices. I said, okay, if you could choose these two ways, which will you choose? He says this, why? And then that's it. And then he's in the feeling area. He doesn't call it feeling, he doesn't know it's a feeling, but he made a choice. And for some odd reason, this speaks to him, and then I take his terms that he used. I choose this because this is faster. Oh, you prefer faster? Yes, why? Just go all the way and don't leave one word. The idea is basically, maybe it's a bit like a philosophical idea of, we shouldn't think that we know what they're saying. Put a question mark in everything, since once they have to explain everything, they go through a process and they understand better. Okay, so with the ones that I want to share, I leave them. Now, in the next phrase that we go through, there is no need anymore to do the exact same process, or this. It's a similar process, but we don't have to connect to the original story. At that point, it grows. It grows to something else. But we have already a firm ground of character, color. Then I'm finishing in a few seconds. At this point, reality and imagination blend. That's why I like this picture very much. It's because we don't know anymore if the story isn't real, but it doesn't have to be, because the story is real, not the situation is real. The story is real for them, and maybe they are fixing their life story, and that's okay, because this is what we are all about. And I lost myself. So now the narrative of the piece, I don't know if it's written there, once it has strong roots inside, and that comes from a genuine feeling, it will grow on its own. All we have to do is just look over it, that it will not go on. And I will finish with a sentence of Stanislavski himself, who says, "A sincere performance is one that can make the audience connect to their own emotional memories and then make it happen here and now." Thank you.